Well, I started wearing the hijab when I was 11 years old, and like many others, I put it on to please my parents, which would end with me taking it off later on. I didn't really understand the reason behind it. I knew it was an obligation, but I guess it didn't really resonate with me, especially being that young. It was also hard going to school and seeing other black girls express themselves with the styles they would put their hair in. I felt left out and heartbroken, as this was also a big part of me and my culture. Throughout high school, I would wear a turban until I moved away for university. This is when I decided to put it on again, but this time it was because it resonated with me and I knew I had an obligation, when I felt inclined to commit to for the sake of Allah. I also put it on because I felt accepted and at home. I went to the University of I'm proud to say it has a strong and diverse Muslim community, which made things easier for me. It was definitely the push I needed. So yeah, I put it on November 2nd of 2022, alhamdulillah. And at this point, I still had my neck and chest showing. But it was definitely a step I needed to take to at least push myself out of what I'd known for so long, that being the turban.
Today I want to do basically the exact same thing as yesterday. Just like go to school and stay there all day and just like, I don't know, study and stuff. Yeah, I don't really do much. So yeah, I guess I'll just film myself studying. Yeah.
Since then, I've gotten better. My chest doesn't show, but my neck does a bit. Then I wouldn't show my neck, but still a bit under my chin. My goal one day is maybe the niqab, inshallah. But who knows? May Allah make it easier for all of us struggling with this jarring but beautiful obligation. One thing I will say though is that the comments you see under the posts on social media aren't really helpful. There have been so many times I've broken down crying because I would be scrolling under the comment section of a Muslimah going through the same thing as me, and it'll be the most rude and snarky, unnecessary comments. We're all going through a journey. If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all. The comments, oh, I'm only giving advice, but the so called advice they give is in the most rude manner, almost as if they're putting down the person they're talking to. There's etiquette of giving advice in Islam. It should be for the love or good for your brother and hating for anything bad to befall to him. You should not intend when giving advice to shame your brother or put him down. The advice should be given in a spirit of brotherhood and friendship.
Okay, today my outfit, I really like it. It's probably my favorite outfit. The only thing is that it's so cold, so I wore like thick sweatpants under this, but you can't even tell, so it's kind of good. And then this abaya is long, so whenever I walk, it drags on the floor, and the salt like stains my abaya, so it's like ashy on the bottom of it. But honestly, I don't care. It's kind of fun. It's like, I don't know why, but it's just cool. The struggles we go through. No, okay.
Giving the advice should be done on the basis of knowledge and clear proof. And the big one I feel everyone should take with them is that the advice should be given privately, not loud in front of people, unless doing so serves a clear interest that outweighs any negative consequences. Ibn Rajab, may Allah have mercy on him, said, when the early generations wanted to advise someone, they would exhort him in private, to the extent that one of them said, whoever exhorts his brother one to one, that is sincere advice. Whoever exhorts him in front of people is shaming him. The believer conceals his brother's faults and gives advice to him in private, whereas the evildoer exposes his faults and shames him. He also said that if you advise, then give advice in private, not in public, and by hinting, not by speaking bluntly, unless the person to whom advice is given will not understand hints, in which case there's no option but to speak bluntly. If you go beyond these guidelines, then you are wronging him and are not being sincere in your advice. However, if there's a scenario when giving advice openly clearly serves a greater interest, then there's nothing wrong with giving advice openly, such as correcting one who made a mistake in front of other people. But at this point, like, giving advice shouldn't be a thing where the person you're giving advice to just feels bad about themselves. And as I previously stated, the advice you give should be given in a proper manner and not in any rude way. Like, just be nice, okay, for the sake of Allah. But yeah, I pray Allah makes it easier for all the Muslims struggling with the hijab, and just know that you wearing the hijab is not for the sake of these people on the internet. It's for the sake of Allah and your well-being. Jazakallah khair.
So I would say that tabarruj was there yeah, almost all of my life, since I'm a convert. So I converted like 3 years ago, alhamdulillah. And I feel like our society is telling us that covering up is being oppressed, and that actually, exposing ourselves is being free, is the freedom of women, and it's actually liberating. So, almost all of my life, I had this concept in my head about like feminist thoughts. Let's put it like that, And then when I started like reading the Quran and like getting interested in Islam, I was like, okay, but wait a minute, like, do I want to be oppressed in like the way that I show off my body, right? And then that's when like I started researching on like hijab. And then I realized that hijab is a protection for women because there's a lot of like just people watching you and getting like many thoughts in their head about your body, and some of them can be pretty nasty. Like let's be real, And by like wearing the hijab and by like covering up, basically all of those bad thoughts, they disappear in some ways because they don't know what your body looks like, right? And so it's a form of like protection. And when I started wearing hijab, I really saw that the way men look at me changed because they don't really care about me actually. Like most of them, living in Canada and not in a like Muslim country, like people they don't really care about you actually. And when I go to the gym, I can see like men staring at women because they're wearing like booty shorts or leggings, and I'm just like so disgusted about that. And so yeah, I feel like what was hard was literally wearing the headscarf at the beginning because especially like in the summertime it's so hot, and like I went to Morocco, it was like 50 degrees out there, and as well as in New Caledonia it was so humid and hot. But I know why I'm doing it, and I'm doing it because Allah asked me to do it, and I feel good about what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? Because I know it has a purpose. And I know that, my future husband will see the beauty in me before seeing the beauty like outside of me, like my physique, my body. So, I feel like that's so beautiful as well because it's just like people that are attracted to you, it's not because of your physical appearance, it's because of who you really are.
Today was literally my favorite outfit of the whole week. Just because it was like coordinated and simple and stuff like that. The only thing is, like, I started trying to wear hijab better so that I could get like closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But I think it worked in a way because it's like the way you dress is like how people perceive you. Like today, I think my outfit was the most like, in French it would be called légiféré, so like the most like accurate to the proper hijab. And because of that, I feel like, I don't know if it was just in my head, but it felt like more people were like looking at me low key, like almost like in the way that like if you were to see a nun eating at a cafeteria type of thing, because I went to like the dining in, I don't know what it's called, but like where you could like eat at the school cafeteria, and like it felt low-key like people were looking at me like they're like, why is this girl here like dressed like that, blah blah blah. And it felt like I had to keep up appearances, like because I'm dressed like, like I couldn't eat weird because it would be like even Muslims do that where they're like, oh, she's a hijabi and she's eating like that. She's a hijabi and she's doing that. She's a hijabi and she's doing that. So I had to keep up appearances, which low key is good because like you're kept accountable, but at the same time it's like that pressure is on. But yeah, so that's kind of like what I was feeling, but I think it could have been in my head because when I was looking around, like I saw other girls dressed the same way as me. Like there's other abaya hijabi girlies around me, and I was like, okay, like I'm not the only one. So it might have been just in my head.
السلام عليكم السلام عليكم السلام عليكم السلام عليكم. How are you?